In this week's video, we're going to be looking at a more contemporary style of arrangement with flowers grouped and blocked together. If this is something that you would love to learn how to do, then keep watching today's video. Welcome back to another tutorial. Now today, I don't really have a plan in my mind of what exactly I'm going to make. I've got some garden flowers and some supermarket sunflowers, and I haven't done many basket designs on the channel before, so I'm sort of inspired by my basket here. What I really liked about this is the colour on the sunflower. Let me just grab my sunflower. The centre colour of my sunflower links really nicely with the colour of the basket. So even though it is summertime, I've almost got quite an autumnal colour combination to work with. I think I've got an image in my head of where I'm going to go, but come along, let's go along a little journey. Now we're going to start with some garden crocosmia, or you might know them as Montbretia. I'm going to remove the leaves that are looking a bit scruffy, but I'm going to leave the remaining leaves on. And I'm going to start with them on one side of the basket in a little bit of a group. Now what I have forgotten to mention is that in my container, in my basket, is the Fibrefloral, which is the more environmentally friendly product. And what I'm thinking, if you've been following me for a while, then I dislike this product because it tends to split and break apart. But I'm thinking that in the basket, it's going to keep it nice and contained, and it's not going to split so much. And I don't need to arrange any flowers in from the sides, and that's sometimes where you get problem when you're arranging with the Fibrefloral or the Agro wool. It tends to almost split into layers. Reminds me of a gatto, when you sort of bite into a gatto and all the cream sort of oozes out. Now some of the crocosmia are in bud, some of them have open flowers, but I'm going to concentrate them alongside one another, almost in a bit of an elegant curve. The line shape of the crocosmia is very elegant, quite dainty, and I think it's going to give me a really nice contrast with my heavier sunflowers. So that is my sort of basis for this arrangement. In my garden I have this gorgeous Acer. Needed a little bit of a trim. My husband won't be very pleased if he knows I've cut it, but it's such an amazing colour, particularly against the dark colour of my basket. I'm thinking it's going to look really gorgeous coming out here on the side. Now that wasn't quite so easy to get into the Fibrefloral, but we got there in the end, and this one is going to come up alongside it. Now it's a more modern style of arrangement, I suppose, because I've grouped the materials together. The colour works just so well, and I'm guessing that this would be a design that you would sit somewhere rather than give to somebody as a gift, whereas quite often basket arrangements are given to people as thank you gifts or birthday gifts, or gifts of any description really. And then what I'm going to do here on the side is bring out some of these amazing fatsia, and what that's going to do is it's going to widen the basket. It's going to give me a lovely contrast against the autumnal shades in that Acer, and it's going to give me quite a bold placement on that one side, bearing in mind that I have some really big sunflowers to use in this design today. Now what I didn't want to do was to use the fatsia up quite high and hide that lovely leaf at the back, so that's why I've tucked them in down quite low, and I'm just going to almost counterbalance when on the opposite side. So we're not using those traditional rules where an arrangement is symmetrical and balanced on either side. We're almost asymmetrical, with the balance being uneven on either side of the arrangement. Now often when we're arranging with sunflowers, we bring like a centre line down through the middle, but instead I'm going to bring them hopefully from left to right and a bit closer to the foam. The issue sometimes with sunflowers is they are heavy and they've got a very thick chunky stem, so they can be quite hard sometimes to arrange with, and the foliage on a sunflower never lasts and never looks particularly nice. So what I'm going to do first is take a look at the sunflowers that I've got. I've got 3 with the yellow petals on them. So I've got 3 just like this, different size heads. And I've also got 3 which I've removed the petals from. Now, you might not like it, but they were slightly damaged. They're flowers that have been here for about a week. They're not good enough for me to use in anything else. And what that gives me is a beautiful texture, lovely colour. It's an amazing link between the colour of my basket, and it gives me quite a dramatic look to the arrangement. And there's a good chance that they will dry as well, and you could use them later on in the year. So if you're buying supermarket flowers this time of the year, and they are in abundance at the moment here in the UK, then once the flower has gone past its best, if you can remove those yellow petals and dry the flower head, then you've got it to use all year round. Now I've got to think about where I'm going to place them, and I can't bring them out to the sides because I don't have any foam above the edge of my basket. So they've either got to go in a diagonal position, or they've got to come in a parallel style. And what I think I'm going to do is put them in a bit of a diagonal, up quite tall, almost using them side on so that you don't see the full head, which is quite visually dominant. You're only going to get to see it from the side. And I'm going to push it quite deep into the foam because it's a very heavy stem. So you're looking at it side on rather than front on, which is going to be quite dominant. And then I'm hoping I'm going to get this slightly longer one and the smaller head slightly higher. And I've got a little bit more of a modern grouping. I'm hoping the foam, because the foam is not the strongest of foam, but I'm hoping it's going to hold up and work quite well. So I'm going to step back and just see how that's working. What I don't want to do, I'm going to turn them slightly so you can see. What I don't want them to do is that impression there where you've got 2 almost big giant full stops there at the top. I want them on their side so that you're almost questioning what they are, and you're thinking, gosh, what has Sharon got in that arrangement that looks a little bit different to normal? I'm going to risk cutting this one a bit lower because it's too tall, and I'm hoping that my foam is going to hold up because I do have quite a big chunky gap there in the foam. So 2 different placements. What I could then do if I wanted to is bring off my sunflowers, almost repeating that shape on the opposite side, or I could bring them in a more centre group, or I could bring them across the front. So what am I going to do? And I think, after a bit of deliberation, that I'm going to bring them out at the side and create a bit of drama and some width on the outside edge. I am thinking at this stage that the bigger sunflower needs to be flat in the middle because it's going to help cover my floral foam. And I don't want to cover the foam with lots of fussy greeneries because then it's going to make it look a bit too traditional, and I'm going to lose that visual drama that I'm trying to create. So what I've almost done here is really opened up the design. I've used the stems as part of the arrangement, whereas in traditional arranging we quite often cover the stems. But I've used the length of the stem to create quite a wide design with emphasis on the line of the cut flower. And then my bigger sunflower is going to tuck down, maybe a bit shorter, really low on my foam. Hopefully it's not going to knock my 2 bigger flowers. So let's just slightly move those 2 fatsias. Now what's happening here is the 2 fatsias are almost on top of one another, and I need to angle them in a better position because they're fighting slightly for attention. So that works much better. I've got one slightly higher and one out towards the side. So this is a type of design that I would do for a hotel or a restaurant as a corporate piece of work. So something that doesn't have a huge amount of flower content in it, so it doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money, but it creates that drama and that interest and that excitement. And because it's a big design, it's really going to make a statement in any venue or any hotel. And because it's in a basket, it's quite easy to water for the staff at the hotel to maintain it and keep it nice and fresh. Now what I think I'm going to do here is, just so that we can open up the design a little, I'm going to move the fascia out slightly so that we can see that sunflower at the front a little bit more clearly. And I've turned the sunflower around to face the front, and I'm more happier with that. It almost has, probably because I've used the Acer, it's almost got like an oriental Japanese sort of feel to it. But I'm not gonna put lots of greenery in here and hide those lines. I need those to be visible to create that impact. In traditional arranging, we would probably put some greenery in there and completely hide it. But I love the way that has turned out. If you love constructing structures or armatures, then the stems of sunflowers work really well because they dry beautifully and they turn a lovely shade of like a biscuity parchment colour. And if you're part of my Facebook group, which is Sharon's Innovations group, then you would have seen me unbox this gorgeous asparagus fern. This has been dyed gold and I used it for a graduation ceremony. And what I'm going to do here is just angle it out at the side to create a bit of width and a bit of movement there, but not so much that it covers my greenery and my sunflower. It just drapes nicely over the front and again creates that impact on that one side. I've got a very small bit here which I think probably broke off the top of one of the stems, and I'm going to use that at the back. Now I'm really unhappy about the placement on this side of these fascias, so what I'm going to do is leave one in because it does give me a beautiful contrast against that Acer, and then I'm going to move the bigger one towards the back here so it's tucked in round the back. It's going to give me some visual weight there at the back and help to give me depth. I felt that this area was getting a bit messy and a bit cluttered, and I really need that wide open space. Now I could, if I wanted to, add in something here quite tall, twisted willow or some hazel, but I'm going to leave that space open. This is negative space and it's important in floral design. And to finish this arrangement off, I'm just going to remove these scruffy leaves that I hadn't noticed. To finish it off, I have two options. I could either cover the foam that I can see when I look down with moss, or I can cover it with some bark. And I've used this a couple of times on various videos here on the channel, and what I'm going to do, I just knocked the sunflower, just get that back in position, is it's going to help cover my foam but without making it messy and cluttered. It's going to prevent the floral foam from drying out because the water isn't going to be able to evaporate, and it's going to give me a nice colour and texture that links really nicely with my basket. So if you are doing a more modern style of arranging, please remember that you don't have to cover the floral foam with lots of fussy greeneries, lots of fussy foliages. You can use some moss or bark like I've just done there. You might have some pebbles or some gravel, and that works just as well to cover your mechanics as lots of busy foliage. So this week it's a bit of a different video for you. You either love it or you're going to hate it, but it's quite a modern style design, remembering that you need lots of negative space in a more modern and contemporary style arrangement. And that links quite nicely with the course that we've got running currently on the website. I teach you 5 contemporary floral designs, go through all the basic rules and the basic proportions that you need when you're creating more contemporary work. So I hope you've enjoyed that one. 5 basic flowers and some material from the garden, and the arrangement has worked quite well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell to be told every time I upload a new tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you for the next tutorial. Bye for now.